And here we go. Hey folks, I'm here with Barbora Horakova, or am I pronouncing wrong? Correct me.
Yes, no, that's perfect. Hi everyone. Barbora Horáková is my name.
Perfect. Thanks so much for accepting the invitation. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's actually, we met via LinkedIn. Actually, one of the great personalities that I could meet online, because you share a lot of insights, and well, thanks for accepting the invitation again.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, and thank you for actually accepting my invitation for virtual coffee chat 1 year ago, or when it was.
Almost. And a fun fact about our conversation, because when you sent the invitation to me, I was just hired at my new job at the new company that I'm working now. So yeah, almost a year. I'll be turning a year now in March, and it was around that when you sent me the message.
Yeah, probably.
Barbara, well, just to the listeners to get more about your personality and who you are, could you introduce yourself to us? Like what you do, where you from? You don't have to mention your age. Things that you like. Yeah, because on your coffee session that we had, I actually got like a lot of insights from you, but I couldn't explore more about your personality and so on.
All right, where should I start? So I come from the Czech Republic, from Czechia, and when I was 15, I moved to Germany, and now I live in Ireland. I am a living abroad coach, and I have a background in masters in personal and management coaching. I have some experience in corporate, in coaching international teams. And so with that, I'm now self-employed, and I support people like me living and working abroad. And when they want to achieve their goals while creating this well-being in their life. So creating this fulfilled, successful, healthy life and lifestyle. So that would be professionally to me, about me. I am also a student. I am doing my master's in mindfulness-based well-being. So I'm going to be a mindfulness teacher, and I would love to add it to my coaching practice and also create like a mindfulness trainings for building resilience among people living abroad. What do I like to do? I love nature. I love mountains. I come from really small town in mountains. So I love nature. I grew up around woods or like forest.
Yeah.
And I like to move. I like fitness. I go workout. And lately, I like Pilates a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Must be very, how can I say, very flexible body, no? Because pilots are actually, you have to stretch a lot as well.
yeah, that's the problem. That's not me.
And it's interesting because you also mentioned that you left your country at 15, right? Did you move with your parents, or did you move on your own for studying and you used to come back home to visit your parents? How was this transition? And if you allow me to ask as well, and like, what was the reason behind, if it was like parents' decision, or if it was like your decision for studying, or I don't know, or if you had like a relative in German, as you said, Germany, sorry.
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't a decision of my parents. My dad was 100% against it.
Okay.
And basically, around age 13, 14, you are like in Czechia, you are thinking about like what's the next step
Wow.
with like high school, because like at age 15 you go to high school in Czechia. And so I just knew that I want to challenge myself. And I had this mindset that if I'll have hard high school, it will be easier to get to college. Well,
Interesting.
moving forward after like finishing the high school, I didn't know what kind of college or like what do I want to study. So it the reason behind it wasn't really helpful, or like not helpful, but it didn't really matter in the end.
Okay.
But yeah, I met this girl on a summer camp, and she said, I am going to high school to Germany. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I had these butterflies in my belly. And I was like, oh, that would be so cool to get there.
All right. So everything started because you went to a summer camp, and that summer camp you met someone that mentioned to you, and you just felt like, oh, I want to do this. And how did you? Because you okay, let me break it down. You said that your parents were totally against it, right? How did you face this challenge? How did you did you come up to your parents and said, hey, I want to move abroad because I see this for my future, and I believe that to be a good pathway, for my career and so on. How did you convince them to trust you actually at very early age, 15? So how was this?
Well, I have to correct myself. My dad was like the whole time against it. My mom at the beginning was like, oh, like that would be a big move. But then she was really supportive, and she actually was supporting me in getting some German lessons. She
That's
actually drove me to Germany to do the exams to get there. And so she was then like the biggest cheerleader for me. I think it was because her father was half German, and so she always had some kind of connection with German, even though she can't speak German. And as I said, I live in really small town in mountains. So like for my mom, going abroad to like even if it is like 150 kilometers or like 200 kilometers, it is still a lot.
Yes.
So it was actually funny because she was really afraid of like when I had to go to get to do the exams. She was so afraid to get over the borders that we had to drive there one day before and sleep like in the last village before borders. So we slept there like on parking spot in a car.
Oh.
And the next day we drove to Germany, and she was so like scared that like
Oh my God, where am I?
there will be like a police or something to like password control or something.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because like on the road there was just like written like Germany, and I was like, wow, so you are in Germany now. And yeah, so my mom was actually the biggest cheerleader, and I told my dad at the beginning that I am going to do everything to get to that high school, and then we never spoke about it till I got there, like about 9 months later.
Are you guys enjoying this episode so far? Please don't forget to get in touch with me and connect with my socials. Let's start with my Instagram. Here's my page at Alex Marxs. Feel free to explore. My page is hybrid. You will see content in Portuguese and English. Actually, should tell you guys I'm Brazilian, but I'm based in Ireland, so I create content in Portuguese and English, right? And here is my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel, turn on the notifications, and feel free to explore all the episodes that I recorded, even in the past. And well, give your feedback and thumbs up for the video as well, and share with more people. Finally, I also invite you guys to explore more, my podcast page on Spotify, Alex Marxs Podcast. You see all the episodes available. This episode today is the first one in English. However, next week will be in Portuguese, and then another episode in English for you guys. So every week you'll be a new episode, but alternating between English and Portuguese. Other than that, enjoy the rest of this conversation, and if you guys have any further feedback, comment, please feel free to share in the session below. I'm more than happy to respond to each of you. Cheers. Oh wow, okay. That's actually really interesting, because I wanted to now bring up, do you think your career path was chosen because this experience, how that started of moving abroad, living abroad, and knowing from your skin in the game, from your own experience, how challenged it can be to immigrate, to move to a different country, like, and learn a different language, because you actually had to learn German, right, from scratch, and also English afterwards. So, how did you feel this change, and what was your biggest challenge? Because again, we're talking about someone with 15 years old, just, I want to move abroad. Like, at that age, do you think that caused an impact to who you are nowadays? And also, what was your biggest challenge?
Yeah, well, so it's definitely shaped, or like this decision definitely shaped me, because I had to work really hard to get there. And so I actually created a vision board back then. Well, I didn't know that it is called vision board, but I just had a paper, and I draw a pyramid, and on the top of the pyramid there was getting to high school in Germany, and then all the milestones were in the pyramid, and on the opposite side, on the other side of the paper, I printed the picture of the school that I got from Google, and the class, and I was looking at it every evening because I had it under my pillow. And so once I got there, I had this amazing feeling of achievement, and this was actually the reason why then I decided to do my bachelor's in life coaching, to help people to achieve this feeling of achievement. Well, it turns out that that's not my, or it's not my goal anymore, because not everyone wants to have this feeling. They want to have different feelings, but being with them on their journey, and getting them where they want to be, that's why I actually decided to even study coaching and doing my master's in coaching as well. And so, to answer your question regarding the biggest challenge, I would say that the biggest challenge was self-doubt, or, lowering my self-confidence or self-esteem. Because when I got there to high school, even though I knew some basics of German, it's not the same when you sit on a class, like physics class or biology class, because there are lots of terms that you don't even know in your own language at that age. And so having results, because we were writing tests, and having results that were lower than what I was used to back in my school in the small town in mountains, was really hard for me to not see it as a result of, or a value of myself. And so self-confidence was a big thing for me.
I can resonate with this, because when I moved to Ireland, for example, actually when I moved out from my house, to live on my own, I was at the age of 16, and then I joined the Navy. So I went straight to the Navy Academy.
Great moves.
Yeah, so basically, I didn't move abroad, but I moved to a different state. And in Brazil it's so big, right? So there are a lot of mixes, and like internally we have our differences culturally as well. Like we're not all the same. To me, it was a lot of findings, plus the fact that when I was on my own, at that age, I was thinking, oh my God, like now I have actually to respond to everything myself, and I can't, and always the pressure of I can't make my parents or my family to feel ashamed of me, like this. And it was a pressure that I set up myself, nobody told me, oh, you can't shame myself, you can't make mistakes. Was just um, Alex saying to Alex, um, and that actually was, I think, one of the biggest challenges that I had in the past when I was, living on my own. And then when I moved abroad, I feel I came actually much more experienced because I lived on my own before. So, but I can see here, since like I've been almost 7 years by now in Ireland, I met a lot of people, right? And I've seen a lot of people collapsing here and going back home because of the same pressure or the cultural shock. People underestimate so much this, but it's actually, I think, one of the biggest pivot, where you can fail or succeed if you are not related, or if you can't adapt to the culture where you're moving to. You can face a big issue, especially talking about like moving from Brazil to Ireland. Wow, like it's a big gap. I mean, we have our similarities, right? But we have a huge gap, like in culture, terms of traditions, weather. A lot of people actually highlight these things. It takes some time to people to adapt to it. Some they do, and some they not. And my question for you is actually related to this. Like, what do you think that is the most common issue that you have, like, from your perspective, like your clients? What you hear most? Like, what's the biggest challenge, the biggest wall that they face when they live abroad?
Yeah, well, you're right with the adjustment, or like culture adjustment, and the worst, or not the worst thing, but for example, for me, a person who is impatient and wants everything now, it's really hard because it takes really 6-9 months to adjust.
Right.
I focus more on people, or focus. I help and work with more people who already live abroad for some time, for 1+ year, and so they are some kind of adjusted.
Okay.
However, they go through this, I call it mid-abroad crisis, like midlife crisis or mid-abroad crisis, where like the most question is, what's next? Or like, okay, what do I do next? Because when you come to, or like when you move abroad or to new country, it, of course, it takes you some adjustment. And so, or your goal is just to save some money and have fun, and then probably move back, or like whatever, you don't really have a plan. But then you come to this point in your life abroad. It can be in a year, it can be in 3, 5, 10 years, where you're, oh, am I actually, what am I actually doing?
Yeah.
Where am I in my career? Because like, they also look back, like if they stayed in their home country, they would be maybe higher already in their career, because when you move abroad, you are usually, or like you, of course, there are cases where you get a job that's directly
Okay.
connected with what you've been doing. but in lots of cases you get some level, like entry-level job, and you change these jobs, and you don't really think
We're
about,
really
and then
prepared.
you have like a greater awareness of like different positions or like jobs, but you don't really see, like, there is this career stagnation because you don't really see that you moved up. So like, even though you have like greater knowledge now, you don't really see that you don't really see the promotion, or you see that you could have done more. And so there is this pressure. And as you said, is it the pressure from like you, or like is it the pressure that you see by others that they are much further along their way? And so yeah, like this mid abroad crisis, like, okay, what's next, and what am I actually doing, and this career stagnation. And also well, you ask for like the most common, but like, if like the third thing that I know, or like I have noticed or seen a lot, is this feeling of being stuck in the overwhelming environment. And this can be caused by external factors, like you are just stuck in your position and you are waiting for a new position, and so you just like keep being stuck, overwhelmed, drained while waiting for the new position. Or it can be because of accommodation, especially in Ireland, since in Ireland it is really hard to get accommodation. You usually you are house sharing if you are in your 20s, even mid 30s, and the environment isn't really, or sometimes isn't great, and so you are waiting for higher position or for better position, so you can finally get maybe your apartment. And
I think that's actually a common problem. Like, did people come up with that to you, like saying, "Oh, actually, my biggest challenge living abroad is because I share house, I share room, because there are people sharing room here with the housing crisis and so on." It's actually a common issue for, like, from your perspective.
well, it's not a reason why somebody would come to me and say, "Oh, I house share, and that's my issue. Help me." But when we go then deeper, it is connected, because we focus on how to get to their goal, which is, for example, career advancement or professional advancement, and we get to the issue why they are waiting, why they are in this survival mode, why they aren't able to rest, to recharge, to work on what's important for them.
Okay,
So that's how we get there. Yeah.
it's really interesting. I could not actually, highlight this, because to me, when I moved to Ireland, like, I always had like my own room, but I got adapted to the fact of sharing house, and the house that I used to live and the one that I'm living now, like, it's all right, like, it's, but before, for example, the very like early period of my life here in Ireland, like the house I used to share was like two more people, and but was a like really big house, like four bedrooms, so that like was accommodating everybody, and still one left, and it was very comfortable. So I could, like, probably I cannot relate to the fact that, oh, I faced this challenge, because the other two guys that used to live with me, they were actually, one was engineer and the other one was a pilot, and he used to travel a lot because, again, pilot, and the engineer, he was Spanish and he used to travel back home like every quarter, so he used to spend like at least 2 months back home. and the house was always empty, Probably that made my life a bit smoother in Ireland, but it's interesting, that perspective. And what was what would you recommend as a simple shift so people can change this anxiety and this feeling of like I'm failing, I'm doing something wrong, and to finally rest, as you said, or just let it flow as it's supposed to be?
So this is really broad question. I would start with the question on the person who is facing these difficulties. I would start with a question and going deeper into what causes that, and bring the awareness to like these burdens, these stressors, creates then space to work with it. And so creating this awareness of and acknowledging it of, okay, this is happening. So now what? What will I do about it? What is in my control?
Right.
And yeah, so that would be like the really first step to, like, when looking at releasing these burdens or like these stressors, by actually bringing awareness to them. Because why am I saying this? We know what are the stressors,
Right.
but till you say it out loud or till you write it down, it's just there. It's really heavy, but you don't really do anything about it. Because it's not really present. Like, you are not aware of it in a present moment, acknowledging it and deciding, okay, I'm gonna change that. Okay, now what? What can I do to make different reality, let's say?
Interesting. Many people as well, like you mentioned something very interesting, that since early age, you used to set your goals as a pyramid and also visualize what you wanted, right? Many people struggle setting goals, and also struggle to achieve them. So in your experience, what's the biggest mistake that people make? What's the biggest blocker when actually comes to setting goal? Actually, like what would be like a smoother way to do that?
So when setting a goal, it's not about the end goal. It's not about like, for example, if you want to lose weight, right? It's not about that number that you'll see on the scale, but it's about the feeling behind it. It's about the higher why. It's about the what you'll get out of it, what it will give you.
Right.
And if you don't know that, then it's not important for you, or it's not strong enough for you to be willing to take an action. And so when you know the when you know why, and you have there then this willingness to actually take the action, it's easier to actually
Fight for it, like.
fight for it, and actually being more resilient and like be more ready because it is like an engine, and you need an engine. And so when life happens, because like always something happens, there will be obstacles all the time, and some you can control and some you can't. And so being prepared for it and like building these resilient skills, that's also important for the mental and emotional stability, so that you are able to to follow through your goals.
Interesting. I like the way how you mentioned to find a why. Probably you're familiar with the book by Simon Sinek, where it starts with why, um, and he mentions the importance of people actually find the reason, and he also explains that many people get lost, or don't achieve things in life because they don't know the reason. Or he says that also like people do things in the automatic mode and robotic mode because they were told to do so and they got used to this and they never challenge like why I'm doing this, like, oh, what's the reason behind it, and they got comfortable with this fact and they just keep doing for like years and years and become something like as a habit, as a natural thing, and probably it shouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. And also when talking about the doing or like actually like taking steps towards the goals, um, that like if you probably know or like I think that all of us have experienced it. They promised something to themselves and then they either postponed it or just like kept saying, "Oh, I'll start on Monday or next week or next month." I mean, and it's really hard to actually start working on it, start actually doing that thing. And I think that's also one of the reasons why people struggle with committing to their or not committing, like with actually achieving their goals, because they stay in this planning mode, which since they prepare everything or like think it through, it starts to be overwhelming or it starts to be like too real, and now you have this fear of, okay, what if I'll fail, what if it won't be that perfect as I imagined, and then it is even harder to actually start doing.
Interesting. And that perspective of take the first step, I think it's always connected to a story that I've seen. I think it was on Instagram, like a few years ago. I always challenge myself to this as well. I don't know if you're familiar, but airplane, for example, aircraft consume more fuel, when it's to take off, because actually during the flight, it's actually pretty stable, right? So I think that resonates to ourselves, like to take off something, like to just take the first step. Sometimes it's so hard, but after you've done, you made the decision. I think the way like to keep going, it's much more easier. It gets easier for anything. Recently, for example, I'm challenging myself now to read more as I used to. I used to read a lot when I was younger because I had more time. But as I was getting older, I got busier and I also more distracted, and I started creating excuses. And then I said, oh, and I fell in the trap, as you said, oh, next Monday we start. Next Monday we start. Until one day I said, you know what, I have to start today. Because there are so many Mondays that I've been skipping and procrastinating. And I took the first step. I said, I set a goal of reading at least 10 minutes a day, and like full mindfulness, just focused on my reading, nothing else. It's been working, and I'm actually like implementing more and more time until I, created this habit again that I used to have, but I lost. And sometimes to create a habit, especially something that you have as a goal, it's kind of unfair sometimes because you keep the consistency. And if you lose that consistency for some reason, like, I don't know, there's some day that you get sick and you say, oh, I just want to sleep the whole day. To come back, it's so hard because you get comfortable with the thing that doesn't push you out of your comfort zone. So I found interesting this thing that you said right now, because I relate to the fact that I wait for the next Monday, but I'm trying to stop with this. Like I'm taking the first step and trying.
Yeah. But as you say, you start reading 10 minutes a day. That's something what living abroad actually taught me, that you need to break, or like sometimes it is helpful to break down the steps or break down the progress to smaller steps. And because like if you are able to commit to the 10 minutes every day, you will have then you will have like more, like you will feel more empowered and like, oh yeah, I've achieved it 5 times in a row, 7 times in a row. Now I can read 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and it helps you with that consistency. And even then, when you stop doing it for some reason, it is easy, or like you again start with these small steps, but it is easier to build on them, in my opinion.
And I agree with you. And Barbara, just to understand one thing, you then moved to Germany. I forgot to ask you that actually. And after you moved to Germany, you finished the high school. How did you land to Ireland, or did you go somewhere before? Did you go back to Czech Republic, and then you moved to Ireland? Because also, why I'm making this question, I know some people, and I had this feeling after so many years in Ireland. I was 5 years in Ireland. I went to Brazil one time only, and it was after 5 years to visit my house, like go back home and see how was my family, etc. But I was feeling like I don't belong here, and I collapsed. And I said I want my holidays to finish as soon as possible because I want to come back. I was like feeling out of my league, like completely. So how was that? Do you actually moved back to Czech Republic, and after you came to Ireland, or no? It was like straight from Germany you came back. You came to Ireland. Sorry.
Yeah, so to give a little bit backstory to it, as I said at the beginning, I was struggling with finding a good college or like university that I would like to actually do, or I would like to study. And so I ended up, after high school, I ended up applying for law school in Germany, and I moved there to that town, and I went to law school for few weeks. I ended up watching more Netflix than going to the school, because it just didn't click. It wasn't that I didn't want to.
Yeah. Was not something that you enjoyed.
Yeah, it was also mean that I have to stay in Germany and do law there, which then I realized that I don't even want to do it. And so that was like at the end of November, and so I moved back home. I took my car, I gave everything into like that car, and I, like, do you know the game Tetris, like, and like placing. That was me for like 6 hours to get everything into one car, so I have just like one way. And yeah, I moved back home at the end of November, and then in January, so in 2 months, I moved to Ireland because I landed a job here. So,
Oh, very good.
and the plan was to stay here just for 5 months and to just like learn a little bit English and save some money, and then choose another university or another college.
And yeah, how long have you been now? Like,
Last week on Monday, it was 5 years.
Wow. Okay. What's supposed to be 5 months became 5 years.
Yeah. Um,
And what did you feel like any challenge like differently from your experience that you had in Germany? Like, did you face new challenges in Ireland? Like, I of course, but in a way that you felt like, oh, you know what, I'm prepared because I came through similar situations back Germany.
Really interesting question. And I never thought about it like that because I think I never thought about it, or like I never compared it, because there are two different worlds for me. And like, um, but there were like definitely different challenges. There were, because like COVID started, like 2 months in.
Okay.
And so like out of nothing, I was just like in a small room that I was renting, which just had like a bed. I even had like all my clothes in the living room because it was really small.
Yeah.
And um and then I had to work from that room, and um and just adapt. Luckily, like a few months later, I found a new accommodation, which was like a big room with two working desks, which I
Okay.
really enjoyed. So, but yeah, like I think that there were different challenges, but I all like from what I've seen, from what I've read from studies as well, thinking about moving to new country for new beginning is like very common. But if you don't change you, you might face same challenges at work because it will be stressful because you don't know how to cope with that. Same challenges with relationships because it is hard for you to, or like it might be challenging to deepen the relationships. So you need to be open to make the change, to 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 actually have it changed for you.
That's great. And after so many years in Ireland, did you consider at some stage you move again, like go to I don't know, a new challenge, a new country?
Every January, because
Yes.
it is raining 60 days in that month, and it is it starts to be annoying. So then I and my boyfriend, we always look on renting options in like Spain or so. Um, but yeah, like I always had this mindset back when I was in the corporate. I always had this mindset that my leaving uh notice, or like yeah, my notice period is like 2 weeks. So within 2 weeks, I can move out, and anytime I decide. And so yeah, I don't know how long I'll stay in Ireland. I might move. I might not.
And with the rise of remote work, do you think that was actually positive or like negative? Now, actually, it's going down. Like remote work, actually, it's not the trend anymore. We had like in the beginning of COVID and so on, but now is actually the new trend is actually like pushing back to the office. But did you feel the remote work actually pushed as well? Like people face more challenge to adapt living abroad or even studying as well, because I presume you met a lot of students in this period you were here. So do you think this whole experience of things getting remotely made people miss the connections more, like connection with humans, seeing lives, and probably that could also help them to get more, adapt to the place?
Again, very interesting question. It was really challenging at the beginning of COVID because it was so new for everyone. But I think that we learned how to work in such, or like in this virtual environment or space. Some people know that it works for them. Some people know that it doesn't work for them. I love remote work because it gives me the flexibility. It gives me the flexibility to study in Germany while living in Ireland, to visit my family whenever I want to just do, like, it gives me the flexibility.
Right.
What I would like to say here is that I don't think that the job, like whether the job offers remote, hybrid, or on-site, it doesn't define person's work-life balance or work-life harmony.
Okay.
Meaning it's because it's about us. We make the choices, we take the actions, and we create boundaries. And so the same way as if you, like, when you work remotely and you and like it's 5 p.m. and you have 3 options. You can continue working, you can stop working and just like sit on a couch and scroll through social media,
Right.
or you can do something to recharge, to like for your also personal well-being.
Okay.
And these things, you can also do them when you work on site. You can continue working longer in the office. You can go straight home and sit on that couch and be totally drained. Or you can choose to do some activities that are nourishing for you, that are pleasant for you, that you enjoy doing. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but what I would like to say here regarding this topic is that I think it's great that there was this trend. I think that it is great that companies who like have this variety, or like that some companies choose to do this way. Some companies choose to go this way. I have friends who love remote. I have friends who say never ever remote again, and you just choose between like the options. But the same way you choose the company where you give your professional life, the same way you choose how you create the balance in your life. And if you struggle with that, then please start as soon as possible to take care of you.
I agree with you, and actually that was one of my other question. Like, what do you recommend for people who struggle to prioritize themselves? You know, and you mentioned that people should be able to find like some sort of activities, you know, something that they enjoy doing, so they can turn off a little bit, like from work environment, and also like get to know someone or get to know themselves, you know, through something new.
Yeah, well, it is easier to say that than it is done in some times, or
Yeah.
like in some occasions, especially when it's busy periods at work, when you have targets at work and you are either underachieving them or overachieving them, to create like the consistent performance at work, or to have this consistent performance at work. So yes, of course, like I like the simple answer would be to start taking care of you. But I would go back to the struggles again, and to create this awareness and understanding of why is it happening, what causes that, you cannot switch off, and then what can you do about it, how can you make your life easier for you, and also commit to one new activity that's nourishing for you, that's pleasant for you, that's helpful for you, that you just enjoy doing, and it just gives you the joy, and commit to it, doing it every day.
Oh, no, you touched to the point that actually I really like, about you'll be committed to yourself, like get commit, it sets like the goal to yourself, and so on. I wanted to know if someone lacks of motivation, if someone lacks of inspiration sometimes, or perhaps lack of even energy, and it's feeling stuck. What would be your advice for this person who is listening to this episode right now, for example? Like, how this person can actually just move away from that?
Well, first thing, or like first step, or like first, what I would say is to congratulate yourself that you are already aware of it, that this is happening, and you need to accept it. You need there, without like judgment, without judging yourself, that you are in this cycle, or like you feel in like stuck and being in the same cycles. You cannot commit to new behaviors, to new actions, to new habits if you don't accept what's your reality now. And so once you accept it, go to someone and talk to them, or something. So it can be friend, it can be colleague, it can be family member, it can be a coach, it can be a mentor, or it can be a piece of paper, and just write it down and identify these burdens, these blockers, what that caused that, and that would be the first step that I would advise. The second step, or like the second, would be to work on, or to focusing on minimizing these burdens, releasing the stressors, and creating a bank for you to support you by recharging your energy, by finding activities that help you to recharge physically, mentally, emotionally, and that help you to align with your values.
Right. And my other question is related to AI. It's been the new trend now in the market. Do you think, like, this is your purely perspective and opinion, do you think AI can help humans, for example, to get, like, not, I can't say therapy, because it probably will be hurting a lot of therapists right now, but I'm saying AI would be able to provide any sort of help for these people. Do you think um, this also could be a threat to human coaching, or no, it's okay, like AI actually can provide some advices or something that you can apply in your real life?
Yeah. So I was on this conference, and I like saw an AI coach, or like AI coach chat, and
Wow.
that was amazing. And like the whole time during the conference, or like during the presentation, my mouth was just like open, and like my eyes were open. It was so great, and I think it will evolve, and it will be even better, and I am really happy for that, because it will help people, and it will provide with resources, with easy fixes, or like with simpler issues. And so there will be this help more accessible to more people.
All right.
And I think that's great. And I think it's also great that there will be more space for the complex issues for actual coaches. And I don't know how it will be in a few years, but like so far, AI can only do like AI coach can do only like simple like issues, and if the person needs to go deeper, they need to go to the actual coach. And so there is more the space for coaches to work on more complex issues, which I think it's even more challenging and interesting. And that's so far my opinion or my view on that. It might change.
I mean, it's just because have you seen the movie called Her with Joaquin Phoenix, the same actor that played Joker, the Joker?
I don't think I did.
Okay, I won't give you much.
No spoilers.
So basically, I would recommend first of all to watch this movie. It's one of the best movies that I watched related to AI, and the reason why is just because. And by the way, this movie was came out in 2010, 2012, right? So we're talking about like more than 10 years ago.
Wow.
And it was already like talking about AI, and it was basically an assistant, virtual assistant that you could buy in a store, and talk about your life to this assistant. But in like during the movie, more things happen. I don't want to talk more, like, so I don't give you, like any spoiler. But the whole purpose of this AI was like to be your assistant, where you could talk about your life, we would talk about your routine, your challenge. And I found it interesting because in the movie, a lot of people, like in there, they were facing challenge to talk to humans, because they started relying so much on AI and not on people. How do you see that? Like, do you think actually in real life this won't happen, or do you think no? Actually, we have to be aware of this threat, like where you think we're close to it.
I don't know. Honestly, I believe both theories. I believe that with all these AI agents on social media, I think that we will either get used to it, get used to the language, and will make our transition to different jobs or like to different perceptions of ourselves, or we will crave even more the human understanding and the human the real human behind it.
Right.
For things or like for conversations that are personal. Because like for example in coaching, the first thing that you learn is the coaching relationship and how to create the space for the person to have the psychological safety, to have to feel understood, to show the empathy, to be there for that client. If AI won't be able to create this space, there will be definitely need for this human touch. If AI will able to somehow adapt it to it, then I think we will also just adapt to AI and develop. ourselves in different ways.
All right, Barbara. As we approach our ending, I just wanted to actually share with the audience a bit more about your work. So let me just open here. So for whoever is interested to get help from Barbara, here is her LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with her. Actually, she shares a lot of insights every day. I love her page because every day there's an update.
Subscribe to my newsletter, Resilient Life Abroad.
Your newsletter, can I subscribe from here or?
When you scroll down, it's when you scroll.
Oh, okay. I will subscribe myself. I was not aware. Do you update that every week?
Yeah, it's bi-weekly.
Okay. And here as well, like we have the performance and energy level, right? The test.
Yeah. So we didn't really go into that today, but basically, we talked a little bit about the energy management and the stress management and the performance. And so I've created like a check-in or like an assessment quiz to assess or evaluate your current performance level and how it is connected with your overall life satisfaction and how stressors impact your goals and achieving them. And so basically when you do this 10 minutes quiz, then I'll evaluate it and create a report that's like individualized for you. And also after once the report is created, which I hope to always do it, or I try always to do it within 24 hours. Then we'll meet for a consultation for 15-30 minutes to discuss the report and the next steps that will help you towards your goals.
It's great. And also you have your book appointment link, which you can book a 30-minute session with you. Yeah, we have availability for Fab, so you guys should get in touch with her if you're facing like challenge living abroad. Highly recommend Barbara. And wow, that's very impressive. Over 200 hours of coaching.
Yeah. Corporate helped me a lot. And yeah, also during my studies. And yeah, meet with me. I'm all for virtual coffee chats to just chat or to to also discuss how I might be any help for you. So either if you want to just chat or if you want to just to really explore your options, both is fine.
That's great. Barbara, just to finish, first I want to say thank you so much for all the insights and experiences that you shared. I feel like I'm finishing this episode more empathetic with people coming like from different countries for living abroad and taking risks. You actually brought a lot of insights that I might forgot because I just got used to these things. Thanks also for all the devices that you shared. I'm sure whoever is listening to this episode, you'll find like very helpful. It was great to have you here. Before we finish, just to get like a personal touch of you, could you share with us like your favorite song? Like which song is like motivates you or makes you like happier, brings like a brighter version of Barbara?
Ooh, I usually listen to trash that I shouldn't really mention here. But I like part of Stellar, which is like electro swing-ish style, and it's really good like for getting into the movement and like getting things done. And but like totally opposite style would be Iggy Azalea, Australian rapper,
Oh, okay.
female rapper, and I like lately I like Black Widow from her.
Nice. This I didn't know. Um, a book that you like loved reading and you had a really good experience and you maybe can share with us. Could be anything.
I never remember authors, but Designing Your Life. That's like definitely amazing book. And I've
I
read
know.
it lately. And Rest is also good. I don't remember the authors.
Oh, okay. I found it here. Let me share quickly.
Oh yeah, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans.
This is the one. Is this one here?
Yes, totally recommend it for reflecting, understanding where are you at, but also to take to take the action towards designing your personal and professional life. So if you want to just read, that's not really the best book, because you have there some tasks that you should do, but they are good. So definitely, if you want to actively read or like actively like implement something, this is a really good book.
Perfect. And finally, if you had like the opportunity to advertise your message, like to the whole world, like a big outdoor, no, like what would be your message to the world now?
Don't let stop yourself. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve. You set the limitations, and so don't let stop you to achieve big things and make mistakes.
That's great. Thank you so much, Barbora. I enjoyed so much having this conversation with you.
Well, thank you for having me. It was lovely. Thank you.
And that's it, guys. Don't forget to follow Barbora through her social media. I'm going to share everything on the description of this episode. And also get in touch with her. I'll make available all the links on the description as well. All right. Thanks again. See you guys next time.
See you. Bye.
Hey, thanks again for watching the whole episode. Please don't forget, subscribe to my channel or subscribe and turn on the notifications on Spotify if you're listening from Spotify. And also follow me on my socials. All right. If you guys have any questions or comments or even a feedback, I'm more than open to listen each of you and keep improving from that. Let's keep growing our community. So don't forget to get in touch with me and follow me for more. See you guys.